Hi everyone! Today I'm just going to share a few fun things that you can do if you have stamp sets with matching dies and also stencils. And in the process, I'm going to be making a card and a tag, and hopefully you are going to be getting some wonderful ideas of your own. So let's head on over. Today I'm going to be using this elegant dandelion stamp and die set that I got from InLoveArts, and I'll put a link below in the description box to this. But I absolutely love it because there is a die for each stamp. So there is 18 dies in this set, which is absolutely amazing. I'm also going to be using this fun stencil from InLoveArts that's called Irregular Web Spray. For the techniques I'm going to be showing you on this card, I'm going to be inking this piece of cardstock, but you can actually use, colored cardstock, whatever color you want to use. I just happen to have decided that I wanted to do some inking for this. Now that I have this all inked, I'm ready to do some heat embossing, and I'm going to be using this dandelion set right here from the stamp set. And also, I'm going to remember to use my little embossing buddy. That's not really the name of it, but it's like everybody else's. So, got that sitting right where I want it. Get it on there. And I'm just going to wipe this on here to make sure that we don't have a bunch of embossing powder sticking to places that I don't want it. So let me get this all inked up with my embossing ink. If you're wondering what I'm using Distress embossing ink. So hopefully I have that covered really good. I'm going to find out here in a minute. See if I can tell just by looking at it. You know what? I can't tell. So we're going to do it one more time just to be sure that we have good coverage. And then I'm going to be embossing it with some white embossing powder. And I have no idea why I decided on white as opposed to any other color, but I did. So kind of the look I want to go for. All right, now that that is done, and I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm also going to wash off my stamp really quick before we go to the next step. All right, and I'm going to be using this white embossing powder. So let's just pour it on here and hope for the best. I always worry that I'm not going to get full coverage. Oh, but it's beautiful. Look at that. It worked without any problems whatsoever. And so I'm going to dump this back in, and then I am going to grab my heat gun, and I'll be right back. My heat gun barely reaches over here, but I'm going to give it a try. Normally I don't do this on camera. So let me get it heated up for a minute here, because you want it to be nice and hot when you start. And I actually like to start on the back a little bit. Oh yeah, it's starting to go. I don't know if you can see it, but there we go. Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful. And it's done. There we go. Nice and shiny and beautiful. Okay, now it's time for the next step. So as I showed you at the beginning of the video, that stamp set has a matching die set with literally a die for each and every stamp, even if it is as tiny as that. And so I'm going to use the die that matches the stamps that I just used. And by the way, those actually go with it. But I only need this piece. And the reason is because I'm going to use it to create a mask. I know a lot of people, they stamp and they fussy cut and they create a mask. But if you have a matching die like this, It is so easy to create a mask, and I made the mistake here of sitting my cuddle bug on this mat. It is just moving everywhere. Okay, so let's get that over with. And here we go. And it even cuts out these little areas between the stems. This is just like the coolest stamp and die set ever, especially for someone like me that loves dandelions. So this is going to be our mask for our next step. So usually people use some sort of sticky paper like Post-its to make their mask to stick on there, and I don't happen to have that, but I do happen to have Pixie Spray, which is a light tack repositional adhesive, and it's for stencils, but it also works for this. So I'm going to go put this in my little spray box and give it a quick spray, and then we'll stick it right on there. Okay. Just get it positioned right over everything. There we go. So now that's on there, and we are ready to do some stenciling, and I'm going to be using this stencil, which is from InLoveArts, just like my stamp and die sets, and I'm going to put links to all of that below in the description box so you'll be able to find it. And this stencil doesn't happen to cover the entire card. So I'm going to have to make a decision on whether I'm going to cut part of the card off or put something else down here. You know, I hadn't thought that far ahead. I was more thinking of the technique. So let me get this set on here, just like so. And let me grab my purple tape. And we'll just tape this down a little bit. Like so. Probably should tape it down a little bit more. Doesn't hurt. Actually, I should be tearing this tape in half. It is way too wide for this. Okay. And, oh my goodness. Tell you what, I'm going to undo this really quick because I forgot to spray this with my Pixie Spray. So let me spray it really quick and I'll be right back. Okay, now I am more prepared. What was I thinking, right? Okay, let me just get this on here. Yep, I think that works. Okay, now we are ready to start stenciling here, and I'm not going to change the color of any of this, but I'm going to add some sparkle to it by using this, if it would focus for you to see. Let me see, there we go, Glass Bead Glitter Gel from Faber-Castell. And it's not colored. It actually looks white, but it mostly just leaves a glittery shimmer. So I'm going to stir it up just a tiny bit here. It's nice and creamy. I like it. Okay. And let's start stenciling. Okay. So it is time to remove the stencil. And sorry, I'm trying to get my lid back on here. So let's remove this and see how it looks. I'm just going to loosen all of the tape around the edges, just so that it lifts up real easy, or hopefully it does. Okay, so this is what we have so far, and I'm just trying to decide if I want to leave that the way it is and just put something else over it, like grass or lace or something, or if I just want to add more of the glitter gel here. So I'm going to think on that while I go wash this off right away, and I'll let you know what I decide. Well, I decided to add some more of that glitter gel along the bottom, and my apologies for not having the camera on when I lifted the mask off, which has wet stuff on it right now. So I'm going to save it. It might be cute when it dries, but we will be back when this dries. Okay, and that is dry, and isn't that just sparkly and beautiful? Just kind of adds something to the background, and I really do love that the coordinating die cut for that image can be used as a mask. And I'm going to do something with this. Just wait, I'll figure it out. But now it's time to turn this into a beautiful card. So I have my card base right here, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have this beautiful shimmery white pearl cardstock with the middle cut out because, as you know, I like to do that as a paper saver so that I could still use that piece instead of just having it hidden underneath something. And so we're just going to add some glue to this. And then we are going to add it to the card and make a beautiful card. All right, so we've got that done. Just going to slide it right on the front here and get it lined up. That's what I like about using wet glue, specifically Beacon 3-in-1, because I have time to line things up, so I don't sit here forever trying to make sure it's perfect. I just kind of put it on and slide it into place, and then it's ready to go because it dries really quick. And so next we're going to put this on, and let's see. While I'm doing this, I could just tell you that there are many uses for stamps with coordinating dies. There's so many possibilities. You can use it with the die or without the die. You can use the die as a mask. I mean, just lots of possibilities. I just thought it would be fun to show you some of them in this video. Having to make sure everything is pressed down really good because that piece had become slightly warped from everything that I put on it. So yeah, hopefully it all lays down nicely. It better all lay down nicely, right? Oops. And I have a little bit of my glue coming out of the top there, but what I like about it is you can just rub it off or use a glue eraser. But Beacon just rubs off so easy, as you can see. But when I'm done, if I've missed anything, I will go back with my glue eraser and get any leftover residue off. So, I've got that done. Have it on my mat. Just rubs right off. Move it over to the side. And now I have my sentiment here. I've already put some foam tape on the back, but because this is textured, I think I'm going to put a little bit of my beacon on there as well, just to make sure that it sticks good. Because sometimes when things are textured, you know, it doesn't get full contact, whereas the glue can seep down in between all of those cracks. So, I'm going to put this right down here, like so. And that's not all. I also have a sweet little butterfly that I cut out of the same pearly paper that I used for the background and for that. And I'm just going to put a little glue right here, kind of in the middle, because I want the wings to stand up. So let me make sure I have glue coming out. There we go. So it's going to kind of rub it a little bit so I don't have too much excess coming out there. And I'm going to put it right up there. And look at that. We have an absolutely beautiful card. Okay, so this time I'm going to show you a different stenciling technique. And, you know, to my disappointment, I realized that I didn't have any stencils big enough to fit the tag that I made. You know, for those of you who think us crafters are, you know, perfect and we have a plan, Not always. Sometimes we just fly by the seat of our pants and hope it works. And this is one of those moments. But I'm going to make this work in the end. So what I'm going to be doing this time is using this Decofoil Transfer Gel Duo because you don't need heat for the, where did it go? For the Decofoil to adhere to it. And that's what I love. No heat, no machines. That's how I like to Decofoil. And so that is what we're going to do. I've already used my pixie spray, already put on my purple tape, and now it's time to try to get this jar open. And grab this, and I will be putting this on. And then once I get this all on, it has to dry before we can put the Decofoil on. So I'm going to get this all on, and then we're going to let it dry, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix the issue of this not going all the way to the top, because this video is about tips and tricks and having fun, and different ways you can use stencils and stamps and dies. Oh my. Okay, so the Transfer Gel Duo is supposed to sit for about an hour or until it turns clear, and it really depends on the thickness that you put on there. I happen to let this sit overnight, not because I thought it needed to, but because I got busy. So it can also sit longer. And then we have the space up here that we were talking about. And so part of me thought of putting some double-sided tape up there, because that is one way to do it if you've watched my Decofoil videos. But because of the hole and the edges, I didn't want to mess with that. So what I'm going to do is, let me grab a piece of paper here to show you. Okay, this will have to do. This is too big. But I'm just going to put paper across right there. And I'm going to spray this with a spray adhesive, because that also works wonderfully. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to put on this gorgeous, gorgeous Decofoil. Isn't that just beautiful? Holy cow. So that is the shattered glass look, and I've already put it away, but I think it was rainbow. I'll put a link below in the description box. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that on top of this, and then we're going to run it through the Cuttle Bug. Now a lot of times I just rub my fingers on it, but I do know that the Cuttle Bug just gives it a wonderful even pressure all the way across. So because I have to do this really quickly, as soon as I spray it, I'm going to come back and we're just going to do it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to lay it pretty side up and make sure that I have it covering the entire thing. Okay. Put the other plate on. Now I think you can do this with the two B plates, but I'm using the B plate and the C plate, just like I would use for doing, the thin metal dies. Sorry, my arm is in the way there. It's slipping and sliding on this, but I had to put that there so you'd be able to see what I was doing. Okay, I'm going to lift this up for a second, and you can actually see all that texture coming through there. And I'm actually going to rub the top a little bit more because I'm not sure if it made good contact or not. So have to make sure that it is fully adhered. All right, let me move this stuff really quick. There, that's better. Now I can move around. Okay, so let me see. Oh yeah, look at this beautiful reveal here. And see, that's why I wanted to do the spray, so that I didn't have something covering the hole that I had to deal with, and I don't have to trim around the edges or anything. So pull this back. Oh my gosh, isn't this gorgeous? I absolutely love it. So don't laugh. I actually meant to put that on the other direction, but I was in such a hurry. I wanted to put the kind of greenish stuff down at the bottom like grass. See? I tell you, everything does not work out exactly as planned, but I think that is just stunning. So what I've done is I stamped and heat embossed in silver and die cut this out, and it came out beautiful. And I am going to put that right on there like so. I'm thinking about popping it up, actually. I'm not quite sure. What do you think? Should I pop it up or just glue it on? Decisions. I might just glue it on. And I also cut out some of the smaller little pieces that normally would, go flying through the air off from a dandelion. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put them all on there or if I'm just going to, put a couple on here. But let me get my glue and we'll do that. Okay, I've got my beacon 3-in-1. And I'm just going to put a little here and there on it. Okay. Yeah, I decided to not pop it up. Decisions, There we go. There we go. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? So, just another way to use a stencil and use your stamp and matching dies. Before we go, I want to show you the finishing touches I put on this beautiful card. That stamp and die set also has the layers for these dandelions, and so I stamped and embossed them and cut them out with the die, and then I used foam dots to put them on to add some dimension and added some rhinestones, and I just love the way that this card came out. I think it is so beautiful. And I also added some little gems to this as well to give it some interest and dimension. And then there was this piece right here, which was the mask for that image. And I know you are all probably wondering what my plans are for this. And so what I did was I used some distress ink and just went over the top of it gently, and it colored it beautifully. And I'm going to hang on to this for a mixed media project. I don't know what the project will be, but I know it'll be perfect for that. And then there's something else I wanted to show you because I do love dandelions a lot. And look at this. That's my personalized stamp that I use on the back of my cards, and there are the dandelions. So thank you all for hanging out with me today while we played with stencils and stamps and dies. Oh my! If you like this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I hope you consider that too. And if you do, be sure to click the little bell next to the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos or giveaways. And I hope you stop by Crafters Castle on Facebook and also Crafters Castle Challenge blog to enter your creations. Happy crafting, everyone!